In this week's episode, the colored lights take over, and the guests release their emotions like an explosion, with fireworks of tension, seduction, and chaos. Hey, I'm Loren, your insider to filmmaking techniques.
And what happens in Thailand stays in Thailand.
From the dance club where the three women and their Russian friends party, to their private pool rendezvous, to the yacht sailing towards the full moon party, the neon lights come on. A vibrant spectacle that amplifies indulgence and danger. The youngins on the yacht are cruising towards the full moon party, and that is a giant moon in the sky. Clearly added digitally because there's no reflection of it in the water, which they either forgot to add, or perhaps they left it out on purpose, so the light in the water wouldn't take our attention away from the boat. And later, we see the same moon looming over the resort as the camera twists ominously. To me, the moon represents a watchful eye, a symbol of losing control, heightened emotions, and seduction. And this episode has no shortage of all three. Even Belinda and Pornchai share a tender kiss, a rare moment of warmth in an episode of dangerous temptation. Pornchai makes Belinda feel safe from Greg.
I'll keep you safe.
And other predators.
Okay, go.
Meanwhile, for Kate, the Russians feel anything but safe.
I don't think that's a very good idea.
I'm not sure where these colored lights around their pool came from, but clearly they were added this episode to dramatize the scene. Think about it. Without the strobing colors of light and dance music to make this scene feel sexy, it would just be a few grown-ups splashing around in a pool.
I have antacid if your stomach upset.
Even at the guardhouse, where Gaitok is desperate to get his gun back, the lighting shifts. He's bathed in a sickly green glow because he's worried sick.
Some people here have colorful pasts. It's really not wise to stir anything up.
And speaking of colorful pasts, Rick has hinted at murder before.
I've done a lot of bad things.
And now, in Bangkok, he's locked and loaded and ready to confront the man who killed his father. The man who, in Rick's words, robbed him of becoming a good person.
And my father, he was a good man. But I never got to know him, because he was murdered. And I can't get my life back.
But to me, Rick seems torn. Something about this setup is just too obvious and predictable. I can't help but thinking back to something he said in episode 2.
And your father?
He died before I was born.
Could this be a Star Wars situation?
He told me you killed him. No, I am your father.
And maybe not this exactly, but what if Rick's past isn't what he thinks it is? What if this confrontation isn't what he expects? Could this be a chance to finally reclaim his life? And that brings me to the most fascinating part of this episode. Rick's friend Frank. A man whose wild sexual and spiritual journey in Thailand has led him through an identity crisis. And he lays it all out in this incredible monologue.
What is desire? I realized I could fuck a million women, I'd still never be satisfied. Maybe what I really want is to be one of these Asian girls. Then I put on some lingerie and perfume, made myself look like one of these girls, and I thought I looked pretty hot.
This is where Frank goes to deep exploration within himself.
Sex is a poetic act. It's a metaphor. Metaphor for what? Am I a middle-aged white guy on the inside, too? Or inside, could I be an Asian girl?
And then he turns to Buddhism.
Detaching from self, getting off the never-ending carousel of lust and suffering.
Frank contrasts so well with Rick, because while Frank has spent years exploring who he really is, Rick feels like there's nothing inside him at all. A lifetime of trauma has hollowed him out. This is also visually one of my favorite moments in the episode. I love this ending shot through a glass prism, reflecting just one image of Rick, but 5 images of Frank drinking tea. 5 different versions of him, each shaped by his explorations. And speaking of exploration, Lachlan seems to be exploring something complicated with his own brother.
No, I'm like a blank page. I'm a fresh breeze, baby. I can be anything you want me to be.
I don't think kissing his brother is exactly what Saxon had in mind when he said that, but maybe he really meant what he said. I think Saxon is still trying to find his own identity too, and his reaction to that kiss was a mixture of confusion, repulsion, but also something else. A hint of reflection, perhaps? Meanwhile, their sister Piper's journey couldn't be more different. One of celibacy, Buddhism, and inner peace.
And immerse myself so I can really understand Buddhism and develop my spirituality.
But you're not a Buddhist.
Piper's mother, completely baffled.
I need to figure out what makes me happy.
And that's what's so interesting about this episode. Everyone's searching for something, some color in their lives. Jacqueline is searching for her younger self. Gary is searching for anonymity, which he found in this episode because he never showed up. I think Rick is really trying to find his better self. Lachlan is searching for his sexuality. Saxon is searching for control of his life, and, of course, women. Belinda, especially now, is searching for security. No, like literally security.
The Americans, Italy, maybe we call all the police.
We are not calling the police.
And talk about security. Gay Talk is searching for his freaking gun, which, let's be honest, is a metaphor for his insecurity. And then there's Tim, searching for a way out. Covered in a depressing blue light, he writes the note and almost pulls the trigger.
Please, God, tell me what to do.
But we already know what Tim is going to do next.
We're going to go over there first thing tomorrow, and your father's going to have a nice visit with him. Right, Tim?
Yeah, sure, I'll talk to him.
Could the Buddhist temple be the answer to Tim's prayers?
I've heard someone say that anyone who moves to Thailand is either looking for something or hiding from something.
You hide, are you seeking?
I bet after all the pushback Piper gets from her mom, it's her dad who surprisingly takes her side, literally at the temple. Maybe a Buddhist temple in Thailand is exactly what Tim needs. Perhaps the magic of Thailand is what a lot of these characters need. For better, for worse, or even for death.
He can do everything right, but still, at any moment, something can come along and upend everything.
And right now, everyone is exploring, leaving themselves vulnerable to discovering who they really are. Thanks for watching.